Hi.
Hi. Oh my God. Okay. So exciting. All right.
So,
So I'm all in to do the mindset work, and I feel like I've been doing it regularly. I'm now tracking myself doing the mindset work every single day, but it's hard to stay in action
okay.
when you feel like the result isn't coming fast enough,
Okay.
right?
So, let me stop you there really quickly and let's just take a look. Because your thought right now is the result isn't coming fast enough, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
How fast do you think it should come?
Now I should have it. I should
Yeah.
already have it.
Yeah. And this is the hardest part, you guys, right? Like, because right now you're having a thought, which is an expectation. And what's the result you want?
I wanted this last month. So I wanted to sign 2 clients last month, and then this
Okay.
month I wanted to have 3 clients, but I'm still working on signing another new client. So
Okay.
I'm still at, yeah.
So let's just like when you think about the result isn't coming fast enough, what specifically is your mind referencing? Is it 3 clients this month? Is it that next client?
The next client.
Okay. So 1 client.
Mhm.
Okay. So, right, we've got our neutral data here, which is just 1 client. And then your
Mhm.
thought about this currently, just the default is the result isn't coming fast enough. Now, for everybody doing the daily work, there's 2 things that I do, right? Because this is step 3. What's my brain's objection and how do I comfort it? So when you know the model, the first thing that I say to myself is, wait a minute, this is a thought, which means it's not true or false. But let's just start, Jennifer, here. When you think this thought, does it help you create more clients? If you
No,
just had to guess.
no, it
No.
doesn't. Because I get frustrated and I'm like, "Ugh, why are you even bothering, right? Like, why would you even bother sending another email? Like, you just kind of want to put it on pause for a bit.
Exactly. And so, right, like then you start a whole new model, which is like you're just stacking. So at some point, you have 1 client as the neutral circumstance. And then you have this model, which is the result isn't coming fast enough. And then you have another model, which is like, what's the point? And you've got frustration. So, how do you feel when you think the result isn't coming fast enough?
Definitely frustrated.
Okay.
Um,
And when you're feeling frustrated and you're believing, right, your mind is focused, it's absorbed in like it's not happening fast enough. What does that look like? What kind of stuff are you doing? How are you showing up in your business?
I'm not. I want to take naps.
Okay.
I delay sending emails. Like I save a lot of content on a document, but then I don't ever send it because I'm like, oh, whatever, it doesn't even matter.
Mm,
Um, I consume a lot of content.
yeah. Okay. And so, Jennifer, could
Mm.
you see how when you are feeling frustrated, right? Because, well, let's look at then what this creates. Let me go back there. So when you're napping, when you're coming up with content, putting on it a document but not sending it, when you're thinking more thoughts, right? You're taking the action of thinking the thought, it doesn't matter anyways, and you're consuming a lot of content. Do you see how doing that is actually creating the result of it happening even slower?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
do.
So here for your result, we might put result delayed. But, and this is the most important thing for everybody to see because this is what nobody teaches us about our mind, is that the reason your result is delayed isn't because it's not coming fast enough as a fact. It's because you feel frustrated when you think this thought, right? When you're believing it's not coming fast enough, this is no different than if our neutral circumstance was our husband and we could choose to think, I think he might be cheating on me. Or we could be thinking, I love him, right? Or like, no matter what, we'd figure, like, I'll figure out me, right? Notice how we always have multiple thoughts that are available. This is just the one you're focused on thinking right now. This is the default that pretends to be necessary in your mind. And when you think it, you feel the frustration. And only because you're feeling frustrated, that's why you're doing this stuff here. Have you ever been mystified? Like, why am I taking a nap? Why am I consuming so much content? Why am I creating all this stuff and not doing it? Has that ever mystified you?
I notice when I'm doing it, I'm much more aware now that I'm doing it. And I'm like, okay, Jen, but this isn't going to help us. So why do we keep doing it? But I keep going back to it, right? Like, so I'm like, oh, let me just figure out this new program, or let me try this new strategy, or maybe I need to opt in, or, things like that. Like maybe I need to change it.
And this right here, everything you're saying is the pattern loop of the brain. Oh my gosh, I am doing this stuff. Oh, I'm starting to notice I've been doing this stuff. But then our brain comes up with solutions like I need an opt-in, I need to learn a new program. That Facebook ad told me that the problem was that, I watched, it was a masterclass today, and she's like, the reason you're not writing is because people keep interrupting you. I was like, that's what we all need. We just need one more reason why it's not working.
Yeah.
And that's what people are constantly feeding us. So do you see that the thought and the frustration, right, when you pair it with this action, is what's creating this action and this result?
I do.
Okay.
I do see that.
So what's the solution?
Well, I have to change my thought, obviously.
Do you think that's possible though?
I think it's very challenging because
Why?
it really feels very real that I should have this result already.
Okay. Why should you have the result already though?
I feel like I've been showing up a lot more. I'm doing more Facebook Lives. I'm interacting with more people. I'm networking a lot. I was before the coronavirus. I was doing a lot of in-person networking. I know I've seen better results in the sense of I get more consults. So I've had way more consults this month than ever before. So that's good. But then I'm like, okay, well now I need them to convert though. Like, so that's the next thing. Like I need the actual result of signing the client, not just getting them on the phone.
Yes. So let's look here at what the other thoughts that are supporting this, but are just your like mind downloading in. The result isn't fast enough. You said something like, I should have it already. Right?
Yeah. Like I'm getting more consults, but they're not converting into paying clients. So then I'm still not getting the actual result that I want.
Yeah. You said something though, like I'm doing a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I'm doing a lot more now. I'm showing up a lot more consistently, doing a lot more lives. I feel like I'm doing all the things, even though I'm like, Jen, I know I have to be honest, like there's always more I could be doing, but I feel like I'm doing a lot.
Yes.
More now.
But this right here, right? Like when we think about the formula, what you're saying is, I'm really nailing the A line. I'm nailing it. And I know that a lot of you guys watching are going to be having these exact same thoughts, because this is the confusing part where you're like, no, really, let me tell you everything I'm doing. And that's why this is the hardest part, you guys. This is the hardest habit to break. And so many people, when I look at, like, I've been doing business for almost 2.5 years. When I look at the people who I met and started with 2.5 years ago and me, the reason I make money so quickly is because when my coach told me, well, first of all, because I was fed up of this cycle, I was like, okay, I'm sick of that. But when my coach told me that this TNF line was a thing, I just obsessed. Okay, well, if this is my thoughts, how is this my thoughts? What about this? How could this be my thoughts? Right? Because what you're trying to do is you're trying to look at this as like a problem to solve. Like, I'm not getting the results that I want. And so solving that from a problem place is, okay, well, if I'm not getting the results I want, then I need to change something. I need to do more. I need to beat myself up. I need to something. But the simplest way to solve for this is to say, this isn't a real problem. This isn't like a thing I need to do more of or less of. There's just some thoughts here. And if you want a different result, the thoughts are the only thing that has to change. So if you had to tell me, what are the emotions that are categorizing, that you would say you take action from the most, or that you feel the most in your business?
I feel like most times it's kind of coming from a sense of, I don't want to say obligation, but me saying like following through, that desire of wanting to follow through.
Yeah, like
Uh,
commitment.
yeah, like commitment and honoring my word, kind of.
Uh-huh.
I want, and I've been working on trying to get to that place where I feel inspired, right? Like where
Okay.
it's truly coming from me just being inspired to share something,
Yeah.
whether it be a post on Facebook, whether it be email, doing my videos. I'm now doing a 30-day challenge for myself of showing up on video for 30
Of
days.
course you are. Yeah.
Um,
Because your brain is like, I clearly
that's
need
what
to
I
keep
have to
doing.
do.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yes, yes. And I'm like, oh, gotta check it off the list. You know, I gotta do that video.
But let me stop you here, you guys, because this
Yeah.
is all characterized behavior of somebody who's believing that actions equal results. Is you're going to check it off the list. And I
Yeah.
want everybody to be really careful about this with the daily thought work, because you're going to be like, she gave me homework. I love it. Please, more homework. And then you're going to be like, and I did it. Ooh,
Yes. I'm a great student. Like I'm a great student.
I know. But being a great student in this moment means that when I say it's your thoughts and feelings, every part of you has to say, okay, oh, I've been focusing on the A line. Because here's the thing, you guys, this isn't going to change, right? How do I know? Because I'm an A line former person. And like, I just keep catching myself. I'm like, oh, look at that. I was back in the A line, just all A line, no TNF. But I just bring myself back now. I'm like, oh, yeah, thoughts and feelings again. Let's do that. So when you are thinking these series of thoughts, you're going to stay and you're not seeing them as thoughts and you're trying to solve for them. But I want you to practice seeing these as like, okay, if this is just a thought, if it's not the facts, then how do I solve for a thought? And the way you guys all solve for a thought is with awareness. As soon as you realize, because there's you and then there's thoughts. And so you are not your thoughts. When you, Jennifer, are thinking, I'm doing a lot of stuff, that's just you thinking a thought. And the thought is a habit that your brain has thought before. And so you've been feeling commitment. I love that you also mentioned obligation. You're like, it's not obligation, but like obligations that like I should show up every day.
I just don't like the negative connotation, but yeah, I do feel like I should be doing that since, you know, I'm home. Why not? I need to serve my clients. I need to show up and just finally commit to 30 days of video, which I've never done before.
Yeah. And so you're really good at showing up from the commitment and the obligation and the consistent side, but learning how to use a different TNF is going to create a different result. So you want to have one client. This is your goal. And so we're just going to put it in the R line, right? We're going to say, this is the goal and I'm going to create it. So maybe your C line becomes the next 7 days, right? It doesn't really matter. Anything could be up here, but it kind of directs where we're at. So one client's going to be what you're going to create here. What will you do to create a client? We're going to be in the A line for a moment.
I'd make a lot more offers. So making
Okay, let's
offers.
just go with make offers.
Mhm.
What else do you do?
Deliver value on Facebook to my email list. So I'm sending 3 emails out per week now. And there's always an offer in there.
Okay. So you're going to be on social. You're going to send 3 emails a week.
I could network in groups. That's not really my thing though. So I show up in my Facebook group more often.
Okay. Okay. Anything else?
No, I think that's,
Let's add in here daily work
yeah, daily thought work.
and the evaluating. Okay. Because so often, you guys, you forget that this is action. So doing your daily work, shaping your mind is action towards creating the result. Every day that you think it's possible to create a client and you feel that in your body, and then you think on purpose and you clean up your mind and you evaluate at the end of the day and you learn from yourself, That's part of the overall action. Okay. So how do you need to feel? Now, you might have 50 different thoughts and feelings you're going to need, right? Because making offers, you might have certain thoughts and feelings that you need a different set of. Posting on social media, doing evaluations, writing emails. But if you just had to pick one feeling that wasn't committed,
That's
or
what I want to go to. That's exactly what I want to go to. To make me make offers, to show up on social media, to do the daily work.
let's pick one like in control or certain.
I aim to get there because I know there's a lot of uncertainty
That's
when
okay.
I'm approaching things. So yeah, certainty would be amazing. Like if I knew 100% that if I did it, it would happen. Yeah.
Do you know what certainty feels like in your body? Think of something you're certain of. Maybe it's something that's sitting in your refrigerator, right? And somebody could tell you, is that there? And you're like, right? How many guys' husbands are like, no, I couldn't find the jelly. Like, no, it's in the exact place it's always at, right? You're certain. Can you find that feeling in your body of certainty?
It feels way more calmer
Okay.
than my usual.
Hmm.
Um, when
Are you a feeler or a non-feeler?
I'm a non-feeler.
Perfect. Me too. It's my favorite.
I'm a
So
thinker.
let me so let's start with this. When we're connecting to feelings, you have to connect it into your body. So you can do it. I just saw this the other day, touching your lips, but but that's going to like connect into your body immediately. You're going to feel it. The other one's my favorite. It's basically Kegels, but I want you to pretend like you have a tail, right? And you're like flicking your tail. And these two things, either one of them that you do, you're going to instantly feel in your body.
Okay.
And then, I know, it's just like,
Now I'm doing Kegels. I'm like, okay, great.
right? But now instead of being in your mind, you feel sensations in your body in a different way. It almost like pulsates feelings where you're like, whoa, there's that feeling in my body. But when you feel certainty, it's also going to be in your body. And so sometimes to get yourself out of your head, you're going to have to come into your body with some sort of like reminder like that to come in. And when I feel the feeling of certainty, it's like grounded. It's kind of in my chest. It's kind of heavy. It's full, right? So there's words like that, full, heavy. Sometimes there's airy, there's light. Sometimes there's movement. But the more you tune into your body, the more you're going to start like looking and using those kinds of words to say, and some people feel them in other parts of their body. I feel mine mostly in my torso, but you're going to want to actually feel the certainty the way that you feel the other feelings you feel. What are the feelings you feel most often?
Uncertainty. um,
What's the fast one?
commitment.
Okay.
A fast one.
Yeah. You feel a fast emotion where you feel like it's rushing through your body and
Frustration.
okay.
That's a common one.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what happens with these emotions is some of them are really fast. And so they cause you to almost feel more tired quicker because you're like, it's like rushing through your body. So we're going to try and find the place of feeling certain, and you guys can get here from anything, right? You can find the certainty in, I know what's in my kitchen. I know that I have a client call at this time and that I'm going to show up, right? And you look for that feeling of certainty and you practice finding it in other places so that you can just hold it and find the way the body feels. Because as soon as your mind can identify and label the feeling, your brain will be like, oh, I know that one. Like once you label anxious, you will know what it feels like always. You're like, oh, it's that one that's in my chest and it's bubbly and it's fast and it kind of makes me feel like I'm choking a little, but like I can still breathe. Right? The more you label them, the more your brain will be like, oh, I know that one. So you want to feel certain. You want to make offers from certainty. You want to show up on social media from certainty. You want to write emails from certainty. You want to be in your own group and you want to do daily work and evaluating because you want to create a client with the feeling of certainty. So what do you already think, right? You believe it already. We're not just making stuff up, but you forget to think it.
What do I already think? As it relates to my business?
Yep, as it relates to creating this goal right here.
I've done it before.
Have you?
I
Okay.
have.
So
Mhm.
tell me more. I've done it before. What else? What else
Um,
creates certainty?
I have a lot of people watching me already.
Okay, but wait, hold on. What your brain's doing is it's trying to look to other people. We want to keep this all about you. I've done it before. The only reason I don't want to keep this one is because your brain doesn't know how you did it. If your brain knew how you did it, it would keep doing it over and over. But your brain's like, I have no idea how I did it other than I just did a bunch of stuff. So your brain doesn't really know how you did it, which is why this thought's going to be a shaky one. What else can you believe that creates certainty? You know you've done it before, and there is a level of certainty you can pull from that. What else can you believe about creating a client?
I'm helping them.
Okay.
I'm truly helping them.
Are you willing to think the thought I'm helping them and know you're helping them and do that until you create the client?
That one's okay, but I feel like I want another one, but I can totally practice that one.
Okay. Does I'm helping them create certainty?
Yeah, when I think about it as it relates to my free offers,
Okay.
once we put in the money factor, then it feels different.
Why?
Because then there's some uncertainty of if it's worth that amount, right? Even if it's great coaching and I'm seeing the results, there's still some like, well, you should have done more. You could have done more. It could have been bigger.
Yes. Which is totally normal. This is what we're going to talk about on Friday, is because all the ways that we break this stuff down, there are still very specific parts of our brain that we have to build thoughts and feelings for to grow a business. Because what you're telling me right now is that your uncertainty that you can 100% deliver what you charge and you can give it to them, that uncertainty right there, Jennifer, is going to be what's clashing with your action. And as long as you're uncertain that you can help them and that it's worth the price, your brain is going to keep you away from it. It's going to be like, yeah, no, that's not good. Right? So that's part of what I want you, like when you're doing your daily work, you need to be bringing up those types of thoughts and seeing them. And for you guys, you don't have to only let your brain say 2 or 3. You could make an entire page and say, here's all the junk. I don't know if my offer is good enough. I know people are getting results, but I don't know if it's worth it. I write every doubt and uncertainty you have, write it down, comfort it, run a model on it. Whatever mindset you know how to do it. Bring it to the group, bring it to these coaching calls. That's the stuff that's between you and where you want to be.
Right. Yeah.
Right? So while this one model, you guys, these are micro shifts. What we're really doing every time we show your brain this model is we're teaching it that it's your thoughts. And you guys, we don't just get to learn this and it just wash over every area of our brain. We're always learning it in all the areas. I'm completely relearning that it's my thoughts in weight. My brain's like, I don't know. I don't think it's weight. I don't think it's my thoughts. I'm like, no, it is. Right? That's the game. So you're going to have a thought here, but you're going to have other thoughts that are going to work against this one. This one's just a micro shift. Coming in, if there were a wall of sticky notes, you taking down some and putting up new ones are just little pieces of the overall picture you're creating. So you've got, I've done it before. You've got, I know I'm helping them. There's other places you can find certainty, which are going to be like, I'm going to figure this out. Like, I'm not going to stop until I figure this out.
I
If
totally
Elizabeth
believe that.
says, I'm sorry, what?
I totally believe that.
Yes.
I have to. Like,
Right.
yeah.
Right. And so it's like, I'm going to figure out how thoughts and feelings might be part of this until I get it. I'm going to keep tweaking and looking at how I can change this until I figure it out. there's no way I don't figure this out. If other people have figured this out, I can figure this out, right? I'm going to get everything I need to help me do this. It's almost like it's a trust in yourself, right? Because what I love about certainty is I have self-certainty. So I don't have certainty in the world and what it's going to do and what so-and-so, like, I don't have certainty that my family's not going to barge through the door. No certainty at all. But what I have certainty in is how I get to respond and behave and how I get to show up. You have that same thing in yourself about your commitment to creating this client, no matter what, right? And it's not just showing up and doing this. It's saying, what do I need to tweak here? And keep coming at it from those two angles. Okay.
Yeah,
Do you know what to do next?
I do. I need to find all those thoughts because I told you uncertainty is really big. And there's a lot that's keeping me from getting to that client because in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, well, I'm not really sure. Yeah.
Yes. And so you can just write, like you could put as the neutral circumstance at the top of a page, uncertain. And then just ask yourself, what's everything I'm not certain about? And just let it all flow out. And see your mind, because there's two phases that I do mindset work in. There's the version where I write down the uncertainty and then I let my brain pour it all out and I'm just in it, right? I believe everything my mind says. I'm like, yeah, that one's bad. I don't know about that either. And then you're going to switch out of being the one who believes it all. And Jennifer, you're going to become the observer. You're going to become the person watching your mind say crazy things that don't help you get the results you want, right? You're going to become like the really good friend who's like, hey, you know, when you think the thought, I don't have any consults, you never create any, right? And that we know that that thought doesn't create the result we want. Okay, well, if every thought's optional and we know this one's not serving us, right? Because as the observer, you're just like, oh, okay, right? It's like looking in the house and saying, does this food help me reach my goals? No. Oh, well, maybe I should take it out. And it doesn't have to be a hard process. You just throw it in the trash. You just decide not to think them. And for some of you guys, the daily evaluation is going to be the thing that when you write down, like, yeah, you know what my habit was is I keep doing the same stuff. I keep thinking these same thoughts. At some point, you're going to write them down so many times that you're going to be annoyed. Your brain's going to be like, oh, not that again. And you're going to change automatically because you have an awareness of it. And your brain is so annoyed with your new awareness. It doesn't want it anymore.
Okay. I like that idea.
Awesome. Perfect.
Thank you so much.
You are welcome. Change role to attendee. Okay. Love it. Thank you, Kristen. I see you posted her thought in there. That one does sound familiar. Okay, let's bring on Taylor. Promote to panelist. Hello. I know that picture. I saw you on Instagram.
Yes, because I do all the things and I, make it all like cohesive. Right. Because then you'll trust me and want to buy from me, right?
That's right.
And it's not working. And I'm doing it and it's not working. So I was hoping, like watching Jennifer go through the model, I noticed that my thought was feelings are a luxury. Like I haven't been able to afford them. Like if my client wants a different life, they're going to have to get over their feelings. Like, and I can tell I kind of talk from that space. Like I'm being vulnerable. So like, do what I'm telling you because you said you wanted it. So get over it. Right.
Okay.
And
have you ever been told that in your life about emotions?
Oh yeah. I could tell, like I could lay out I could give you tons of examples for experiences where there just wasn't space for anything that I felt to be an option. Like feelings kind of get in the way. It's kind of, I guess, my thinking.
Yeah. So. Yeah. And so would you consider yourself a high feeler or a non-feeler?
Non-feeler. Like, let's just keep it moving.
Yeah. Yeah. And the way I know that is because non-feelers' traditional thoughts about feelings are they get in the way, They're annoying. They're a distraction. Do I really need to feel these? Are you serious? Can we do it some other way?
Mm-hmm. They're a liability. Like I kind of look like, I think because I've been around coaching and counseling, I've looked at it like, oh, they're really nice. Like, it's really cool if you have that opportunity to like sit in a room and feel all the things, but like in the real world, real people, they can't afford them.
Yeah. Are you thinking that it takes a long time to feel feelings?
It feels like tenuous. It feels like difficult. Like, even I was working through the model with Jennifer, and I couldn't, like, making the one client as the result, I couldn't come up with a feeling that I thought would be beneficial to getting to one client.
Yeah. But that's okay, because it's like, part of what you have to be careful of is that your brain is going to judge you. It's what the brain does. And so you want to be okay with, like, acceptance is a really good first starting emotion, because it's acceptance of, this is how the brain works. It's acceptance of, I don't know emotions yet. It's acceptance of, like, when I think of emotions, I think of them as like, we have suitcases of emotions that we normally carry. So my just habit emotions are like annoyed, distant, like, those are the ones I go back into, but the ones I've created and trained my mind to are certain, acceptance. What are my other emotions? Like love. And so you're gonna know some emotions, but others you're gonna have to teach yourself and train yourself.
Okay.
So what are the emotions you do know?
I know obligation.
Mm-hmm.
I know embarrassment. We talked about that. I know embarrassment. I know, like, vulnerability. Vulnerable.
Like, do you really though?
I feel like I feel like I've done that or felt that, you know. But I wouldn't know what the alternative of something that feels super vulnerable, but maybe isn't.
Okay.
I know disappointment.
Okay. And when you're saying you know these, like, you can feel them in your body, right? They're not just a head knowing. It's like, yeah, no, that one grips me and I feel it.
Yeah, I would say I've felt like crushing disappointment. That's how disappointment feels. It just feels like it pulls you down. You just kind of want to crumple.
Yep.
Vulnerability, I would say, felt like, I've described it as, it feels like your pants are down, like you kind of, or walk out of the bathroom and like your underwear are showing, or your skirt stuck in your like.
But those aren't actually, that's not a feeling, right? Like, when I think about vulnerability, what it feels like for me is open chest. Like if I didn't have a rib cage and I just was walking around with all my vital organs open, that's vulnerable, right? Like, you could try and hurt me because it's all just out on the line. It's very open. It's very, like, soft. It's a softness. And as I think, as non-feelers are used to coming in hard. like my barrier is already up. You can't hurt me because I put my shield on before I came out. And sometimes I had to have it at home on too. And it's actually the opposite, right? That's like a hardness. This is like, vulnerable is very soft. Like,
and I don't know that I practice that one very often.
okay.
Yeah.
What about anxious?
That feels like you described before, like a flurry, almost like a rush, or.
That's okay. You don't have to tell me them, but we're making a list here of the emotions you do feel.
Panic.
Okay, what else? Especially in your business.
In my business, I toggle a lot between, like, I don't have the feeling for this, but like, I could do this and I could do that. Oh, it's not working. Like, just come up with another option, and let's just come up with another option. Like, I do a lot of that. So I couldn't tell you what that feeling is, but I feel that a lot.
Okay.
Like, it's not working, so let's just do this.
Mm.
Like, get over it. Like, oh, it's not a big deal. Just go do something else.
Mm. That's a really interesting one. I would love for you to identify that what you would call that. Read through a feeling list.
Uh-huh.
Because if you read through a feeling list and you think that and you like keep that feeling in your body, the minute you see the word, your brain will be like, that one. It's a really fun experience when you don't know feelings
Uh-huh.
because your brain really kind of has an idea, but you just
Yeah.
don't have a word yet.
Got it.
Okay.
I can do that.
So your mind is like, I don't have time for emotions. Emotions are a luxury. Something to the effect of like, they take time to experience all of that. But you actually already are feeling emotions. But these are the ones that are not good feeling and don't get you the results you want.
Mm-hmm.
And they're happening to you. You aren't in control. These emotions are just happening whenever you get triggered, whenever your brain has a thought that creates them. They're happening to you at this point. Does that feel true?
Yeah.
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 And so the use of learning emotions is so that they don't happen to you, that you become in control. Because what would be now, like, if you had to just choose some emotions, and maybe there's just a few, what would be the top emotions that intrigue you, that you might want to know for your business?
I would want to know vulnerability. Like, I would want to. That sounds a bit scary, actually. Maybe I don't want to know that
Totally
one.
is, yeah.
Yeah, that
But
sounds
you're not going to have it all the time, right? Like when we think about emotions, they're yours to have. You might only turn it on, quote unquote, for 5 minutes. And then you might be like, okay, I did that.
okay.
Okay, so you
So, yeah.
want to feel vulnerable. What else?
I want to feel connected,
Mm,
like connected to the people I serve, like I'm in it with them.
okay.
I want to feel desired, like I guess I want to maybe significant or valued by
Okay.
them, like they want to know what I have to say next, what influential, impactful.
Yeah.
Um, I want in my business, I want to feel like in control, like I'm not at the mercy of it.
Mm,
I'm running it.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, those are the
Perfect.
main ones. Yeah.
So this, now I might add a few more just from experience. And they might be curious. Curious is such a fun one. And it's such a good one. Like compelled is a fun one. We feel this one around like I think about cake, right? Or whatever it is you like. If you had it in your house, you would feel drawn to it. There are
Mm-hmm.
thoughts you can think that cause you to feel that in your business and towards your goals. There might be like, what else are the other ones? I think certain. And but so those are just other emotions you could feel. So, but I want you to notice, Taylor, that your brain's overall thought about feelings is they're a luxury. I don't have time for them.
Mm-hmm.
You actually are already giving space and time to them, but on default. So
Mm.
these are the emotions that you need to like learn or you would want to learn how to feel. But these are going to be the ones that help you create the results you want, learning how to feel them now. Right?
Okay.
So learning, so the question that I want you to do, the work I want you to do on your own is, if I want to feel vulnerable, what do I need to think? What do I need to believe? So if you want to feel, let's go with connected,
Mm-hmm.
although we could do vulnerable too. Let's do vulnerable. If you wanted to feel vulnerable, what would you have to be believing? What would you have to remember to think?
If I was gonna want to feel vulnerable, Or are you asking me if I want to create vulnerability or if I want? Like,
Nope. If you want to create the feeling of vulnerable in your body, you have to learn. There's two ways you can come at it. You can find out how it feels, and then your brain will remember it, but you'll still have to be able to connect it to thoughts.
mm-hmm.
And so you have to learn, what do I believe to create the feeling? For me, I might think, like, one of the thoughts that I think is like, my thoughts aren't true or false. And so when I share my humanness, I get to help other people too.
Mm.
When I share my humanness, and the humanness is sometimes just the thoughts we think. And that feels vulnerable. I was at an event once with this woman. We were in a mastermind, and I told her something that I was thinking. Now, I'm not saying this is appropriate or right for sure, but I just told her, like, it just feels really extreme the way you're coming, like the way you're coming towards this. And that felt really vulnerable for me to say to her, because it was just so human, right? It was what my brain was thinking, but I could have judged it and said, no, Elizabeth, don't say that. Like, she's not going to like you. That's not, like, I don't know, the right thing to say. But my humanness was like, I want to feel connected to her, and I'm willing for her to reject me. I'm willing for all of these people to reject me, to be in that humanness, which requires this emotion over here, which I forgot to put on there, which is acceptance. But it's acceptance of yourself, right? Like, people always talk about love and self-love, but I think the most I feel is like self-acceptance, right? Like, no matter what, I accept me.
That makes sense. Yeah, I remember, like, to your point, like, I remember a time offering a thought, like, to someone's question, and I wasn't even trying not to be vulnerable or to be vulnerable, but it felt very neutral. Like, I can just answer. Like, it's not like I could just say exactly what the answer is. And that, long story short, the experience was a very negative experience after sharing the thought. And I guess I've made that mean my thoughts are, a liability, or feeling that way before I speak is a liability. Feeling vulnerable or feeling that neutral about sharing is a problem. So,
and that's where the acceptance comes in, both of yourself, but it also is acceptance that other people are just in models, right? Although you're always in a model, they're actually always in a model too. And so you want to practice seeing this in different places. Like, right? Like, sometimes my husband is grumpy, and my default old thought used to be, I did something wrong. I wonder what's happened. I should definitely ask him. He should totally talk about it, obviously.
right. Yeah, that's what I said to my husband last week.
That's right. But really, when we're like, oh, they're just in models, and we have that acceptance, we're like, oh, he's feeling grumpy because he's just thinking some thought. It's not true or false. If he wants to talk to me about it, he probably would, but it's not about me. And even if it's directed at me, it's still his thought. Right? This is where the acceptance comes in, where it's like, if I'm in models, other people's are in models, and that's okay.
Yeah.
So I want you to practice, like, connected. What do you have to feel? So this connected isn't other people to you, it's you to them. What do you need to be thinking to feel connected to people, to your people?
To feel connected to them, I need to be thinking, I'm on their team. Like, I am their advocate. Like, I'm just their ally. They can count on me.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah. I mean, it might be other thoughts too, like, I know exactly what they need and what they're going through. I can help them. Right? Like, this connection, like, when we tell stories as women, one of the things we do is, right, one person tells you all the horrible things, and then you're like, yeah, I know, me too. And then you share your own story, obviously. But it's for that connection. It's that camaraderie of, I know you. I have this similar experience. You're like me. I'm like you. And that's part of your own connection to your people, is you thinking thoughts about how you know what they're going through, how you can help them, how you have that solution, how, right? Like they're just a previous version of you and the stuff you've gone through, right? I feel very connected to thinking about me from 2 years ago
Mm-hmm.
because I know how that pain and like self-inflicted suffering was. And it's just not
Mm-hmm.
necessary. Right? I remember what I used to do. I used to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and I used to obsess about my business until I went to bed.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think about anything else. And I didn't want to think about anything else. Even now, I really don't have that many hobbies. I like my business.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And
Right.
so there's that camaraderie of, I know there's a simpler way. And I feel that connection when I think about knowing that there are like other people who are basically going through the same things, thinking the same thoughts, having the same habits, that I can help them. And the more connected you feel with those thoughts, the more you're going to feel that connection in your own body. And the more on fire you get for the problem your people have and that you can help them with it, the more you're going to take action, not from obligation or frustration or whatever. It's going to come from this like fire, like I feel so connected to them and I can help them. And you're going to feel compelled because of that fire to get out there and speak to them, to say it in a new way. Like, okay, you guys couldn't hear it that way. No big deal. I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to say it in another way.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be fun because it's part of like, I know I can help you.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
So go through these emotions and find thoughts that help you create it. This significance, right? You need to feel connected now today. You need to feel significant now today. You need to feel in control now today. But
Mhm.
not about anything outside of you, but about yourself. You
Mhm.
need to think the thoughts that cause you to feel significant. You need to think the thoughts that remind you that you are in control.
Okay, I can
Okay.
do that. Thank you.
You are welcome.